I like where this football team is right now. I'm excited about what we're building here. We obviously have a long way to go, but yet I think we're heading all in the right direction.
How would you describe the way Derek handled the 2-minute at the end and the way he's handled those?
Yeah, look, I think it's been great. I think we can't put our guys through enough of those situations. It's as much game-like as we can possibly create in this environment, and so there's a lot of good stuff for us to learn off on the tape, both offensively and defensively. And look, at the end of the day, it was a down 6 situation. We still had to finish it off with the extra point. So I thought the execution was really good in those situations.
But his performance in particular, you liked, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, look, he the object there. Now, obviously, it was an advantageous spot for the offense, and that we started the ball in plus territory. I wanted to get some red zone work there. Look, the whole key to 2-minute offense, 2-minute defense is being able to, in a chaotic situation, be able to slow your heartbeat down and be able to think clearly and react clearly in those situations. Yeah, I thought he did a nice job.
What is it about Derek that makes him good just historically in those situations? Like, what does he have in his demeanor that?
Look, yeah, I think it's all part of what his personality is. I think Derek's built really from the neck up, and that's really what you have to be able to do in those situations. So he does a great job of thinking clearly and understanding exactly what we're in that situation. The last play there got us to the right call, got us to the right play with the time running with very little time on the clock. So that was obviously good for us to see.
How much better do you think you are than the team that finished last season?
Yeah, well, I don't want to get into comparisons in terms of where we were last year. It really is not going to have any bearing on what we are this year. I do feel like that, like I said earlier, I feel like, I feel good about where we're at and the direction that we're headed. But yet we still got a ton of stuff that we got to work on and improve on.
Dennis, do you expect, I know you all been managing your guys with the training camp in mind. I mean, do you expect to have everyone health-wise?
Yeah, I think as we sit here right now, there's one player that may be questionable for the start of training camp, although I'm optimistic that he'll be ready. But I feel pretty good about having everybody here for training camp healthy and ready to go.
Can you tell us who that one player is?
No.
Dennis, it seems like tough competition for the kicker, right?
Yeah, look, honestly, Bobby, I think there's a lot of competition in a lot of different areas. Kicker being one of them. I think there's some good competition in the defensive backfield. I think there's some good competition at the wide receiver position. So I was saying the other day, I feel like we've got some pretty good depth in terms of the start of training camp. So that's one of the things that has me excited.
In your self-scout after the season, do you think there was a lot of things that you could do better? Anything that kind of stood out? You said, hey, as a head coach, I've got to do this.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into all the things that maybe I could have done better. Certainly, when you don't have the outcome that you're looking for, everybody could have done something better. And what we did last year wasn't good enough. We all understand that. We've all got to be better, and we all will be better.
Yes, it looks like, Adebo and Alante have kind of been alternating first team reps at the outside corner spot. Is that the plan going to training camp?
Look, yeah, we'll evaluate it as we go into training camp. But yeah, like I said, there's a ton of competition, playing time and starting jobs. Those are all earned, and you got to really come out and earn it every single year. And so, the great thing about it is I feel like those two particular players that you just mentioned, both of them are fully capable of being starters and playing at a high level for us. And so, but we're going to let that competition play out.
Dennis, I know it's a little broad, but what do you like about Alante? Like, what's the first thing that you like most about him?
Demeanor, the way that he plays the game. Look, yesterday he got beat on the deep ball, comes back the next time he's out there, intercepts it to end the game in a 2-minute situation. So the moment's not too big for him. He's highly competitive, and he's got a short-term memory, and you have to be able to have that when you play corner in our league.
Dennis, what is your view, considering the Saints are one of those handful of teams plus, as far as the fullback? You know, Adam Prentice, I know you can trust him. So you still view the fullback as a solid position that you
Yeah,
need?
look, that role, whether his name in the program says fullback next to it, or it says tight end next to it, or H back next to it, doesn't really matter to me. But that role is something that we feel like is important. You know, and quite honestly, the fact that there's not many fullbacks in our league and there's not many two-back teams in our league, it makes it difficult on the defense because you don't spend a lot of time defending it.
I know it's kind of maybe an obvious question, but how much of a lift does it give to the franchise when you can acquire a quarterback like that who has that kind of ability and that kind of experience? How much of a boost can that give you?
Yeah, I think you know, the quarterback is the most important position on the field, and when you have a highly skilled player, a highly intelligent player, a guy that works the way that Derek does, a guy that has the type of leadership qualities that Derek has, you know, that's going to filter throughout the whole football team, players and coaches, and I think that gives you a lot of confidence going into the season.
You've had a couple of months with Brian Brzee now. Has anything stood out to you, maybe different than what you thought you were getting at the beginning?
Yeah, look, I think, you know, you could see on tape that he was a highly skilled player. He's athletic. He's got really good size. He fits our prototype in terms of what we're looking for interior. It's probably a little bit more sudden, a little bit more quick than maybe what I anticipated. The things I've been most pleased with is really his intelligence level and his work ethic. He's worked extremely hard throughout this, you know, off season, and you know, I'm looking for him to be a key contributor for us.
Did something happen to Chris Olave between yesterday and today that he wasn't out there?
Yeah, he wasn't feeling as good today. I think it was maybe a little Achilles inflammation or something, but nothing that we're worried about.
How are your bow fishing skills?
Not as good as some, but better than most.
Bag anything?
Yeah, I got a couple. Yeah,
Texas.
it was a pretty good shot. You know what I mean? I was more the long distance shooter.
Between now and the start of camp, can you relax, or is that impossible?
Well, I'm gonna do my best to. As long as you're not calling me, I'll be all right. You know what I mean? Yeah, look, it's a long season. There's a lot of grind, a lot of stress, a lot of things that go along with a 17-game season, and then you throw in training camp on top of that, and hopefully a postseason. There's a lot of effort that goes into that. So I think for everybody, having a couple of weeks to kind of kick back, relax, take your mind off of it a little bit, get yourself regrouped and refreshed, and get the battery charge ready to go when training camp comes around.
Have y'all finalized? Are y'all going to work against a team here?
Yeah, we're going to work against the Chargers in LA and the Texans here.
And why do you like those so much? I mean,
Listen, I think anytime you get a chance to change things up in training camp, you know, when you go against the same people, see the same looks all the time, it can be a little bit monotonous at times. And so, you know, changing that routine a little bit kind of brings the focus back in, and you get to see a lot of different looks, a lot of different things, and you get to work on a ton of different things.
Is there any difference going against a team that you're playing in the regular season versus a team that you aren't?
I don't really pay that much attention to it. You know, we're going to get out here and get a couple of really good practices against those guys, and you know, certainly they'll be looking at us. We'll be looking at them. There'll be some things that maybe we, you know, figure out that maybe we can do when we get to the regular season. But I'm more concerned with, you know, getting some good work in and seeing some different looks.
Now that you have your whole draft class here for a while, and you got a chance to, under Kendra hasn't practiced, but you got a chance to look at it. Is your appreciation grown for them a little bit? Do you think you feel really good about what they've done? Or?
Yeah, look, I think it's unfortunate probably that we haven't seen as much of Saldivari, you know, obviously Kendra Miller. But the guys that have been out here working, I feel really, really good about what we were able to acquire, and I think those other two guys are going to, you know, come in ready to go in camp, and I look forward to working with those guys and seeing what we have. But look, I think Jeff and his group terms of college scouting are probably the best in the business. And so, you know, I think they've done, you know, really since 2017. I think they've been outstanding in what we've been able to acquire through the draft.
Do you anticipate having to add to the roster? I mean, we all do any kind of.
Yeah, I would anticipate that there'll be some moves over the next 5 weeks before we get to training camp. There's a couple of spots where we may be a little bit light, and so we're going to always be looking to add. You know, but you know, we don't necessarily always control that. There's a business aspect to that kind of controls that a little bit too. So we'll see where it goes.
Then it's a development of Kirk Merritt. Where do you view him right now? More as a running back than a receiver?
Yeah, we've worked him more as a running back. I think that's probably more the natural position for him. You know, he's kind of a guy that has a unique skill set, and we're quite honestly still figuring out exactly what it is that he does best. You know, I think he's probably better in terms of the receiving aspect out of the backfield right now than he is in terms of a runner. But I think that comes with, you know, getting the reps and being able to see the keys and the reads.
Is there a reason Isaiah Foskey hasn't technically signed, or is it just business?
You'd have to ask Mickey that. I don't know that answer.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.